Now, there's 3 reactors subject to being built or in the process of being built here in America. We haven't built a reactor here since 1979. The reactors at Southern Company and SCANA, South Carolina, Georgia-based company, is building in Georgia, doesn't need backup generators for cooling. It's gravity-fed. The whole design is different than what you see in Japan. So the new reactors that are being contemplated should not be judged by what's going on in Japan. Having said that, anything we can learn from what's going on in Japan, we should learn from. So I hope that the Congress will start moving with your help into the National Wildlife Federation's Christian Coalition. This is not the sexiest issue in town, but it's about to be when gas gets $5 a gallon. Mark my words, as I speak to you today, $4 a gallon gas is going to be in our rearview mirror before you know it. So those of us who believe energy independence is a national security imperative, that jobs to be created are going to come from energy independence and cleaning up the air, we need to act. So the one thing that I've been talking about is a plan that would allow coal-fired plants to be retired and replaced with clean coal and other technologies, including nuclear power. Because if you could get these old coal-fired plants retired or upgraded, then you've done a lot of good for the environment. You'll have created a bunch of jobs. So on the generation side, in the next 40 years, with a smart plan, we can have a whole new generation of power supply in America that will create millions of jobs for your children and grandchildren, and they won't have to be dependent on what happens in China to get a job here in America. We can redesign our office buildings and our homes to make them more energy efficient. There's so much to be done on the energy efficiency side to lower our energy needs without creating new generation. And when you do create new generation, you should have an all-of-the-above approach. So I'm going to work with some Democrats and Republicans to come up with a comprehensive plan that will reward cleaner energy and will allow companies to move away from these older coal plants to create new sources of generation. On the transportation side, we can lower our dependency on foreign oil by making some adjustments to the way we build our cars and the way we drive. We can create fuel sources that come from America, not from the Mideast. Hybrid cars, battery-powered cars, there are a lot of companies going to electric fleets now. We just need to create an economic incentive for all of us to move slowly but surely to hybrid vehicles. That is the future. And the future that I envision will have an economy growing based on affordable, abundant energy. The one thing we have going for us in South Carolina is we have a lot of power and it's affordable because we have a big energy mix in South Carolina. Over half our power comes from the nuclear power industry. We have some wind, we have a little bit of solar, and we have coal. But we have tides along the coast of South Carolina that are untapped. There are so many ways for America to become energy independent. But all those roads to energy independence leads to the Congress. Without Congress getting involved, we're going nowhere quickly. The EPA regulating carbon is a bad idea. I think Congress should get them out of the game and put together rules that will allow us to achieve clean air, but do it in a business-friendly manner. So when gas gets to $5 a gallon, $4 to $5 a gallon, when the EPA begins to regulate carbon without any ability to help business, people are going to look around and say, what should we do? We've got a chance in the coming months to create an answer to that problem. In conclusion, what should we do? We should break our dependency on foreign oil within a generation. We can't get off of it totally, but we ought to reduce it dramatically. We should stop buying oil from the Mideast and buy more from Canada if they can sell it to us. We need to find more here at home so we don't have to buy it from anybody but ourselves. But eventually we need a system that breaks our dependency on fossil fuels. Within a generation, I do believe we can develop cars, office buildings, and homes that will change the way we consume energy, freeing up resources to do other things. And when it comes to Africa and Afghanistan and these other developing nations, the technology we create here today could be a godsend for them. We can start exporting our ideas instead of importing oil. So I want to create an export economy around energy. And the only way that's going to happen is if Republicans and Democrats can find common ground. And the only way that's going to happen is if groups important to politicians like the Christian Coalition and the National Wildlife Federation get involved and give us some political cover and encouragement. The worst thing in the world for a politician is to be standing out there by yourself. When you can have people behind you talking in churches, talking to hunting and fishing clubs, that what Lindsey's doing makes sense, it is so much easier for me to get someone to help than it is to just sell hope and hope alone. You know, President Obama was all about hope and change. I'm all about friends. Coalitions. The only way you're going to change this country's energy policy is to get Congress to act. And the only way Congress is going to act is when conservative, faith-based organization, conservation groups, sporting men and women, marry up with environmentalists and business leaders to come to us and say, get off the dime. I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And it won't be because of any speech I gave. It will be because when people start paying $4 and $5 a gallon for gas, they're going to say something's got to give in this country. I hate to tell you, but that's about the only thing that's going to start this debate, is when it hits the average person so hard, there's no way to avoid the debate anymore. So let's start today so we'll be ready for the tomorrow, and tomorrow's coming pretty soon. Thank you all. One or two questions, right? Yes, ma'am. I don't know. I didn't know they had oil to sell, but I'd certainly buy it from Israel if they wanted to sell it to us. I'd do almost anything to help our friends in Israel. They're under siege, and we need to help them. Well, I'm going to Israel the Monday after Easter. I'll talk to them about it. And we need to pray for our friends in Israel. What's going on in the Mideast could be a good thing or it could be a disaster. If Gaddafi survives this, it will be a disaster. This guy needs to go. We need a no-fly zone today. We need to stand behind these young people in the street who want a better way of life. Egypt could be a better country, or it could go down the road of the Muslim Brotherhood. We live in dangerous times, right? Aren't you tired of sending $400 billion of your money overseas to buy oil from people who hate our guts? Yes. Wouldn't it be nice to take that money and invest it here at home or help people? Yes. Well, that's what's at stake in this debate. Thank you all very much. Thank you for coming to Capitol Hill.